Hello and welcome to this month's Talkin' Blues. This month we're going to take a look at a city you are undoubtedly familiar with for its musical heritage, and that's New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, New Orleans is mostly associated in most people's minds with the history of jazz. You know, it's widely touted as the birthplace of jazz, going back to the beginning of the 20th century. But New Orleans also developed a very distinctive rhythm and blues style, and this is kind of an outgrowth of the evolution of blues and jazz through the 20th century. Right around 1950 or so, the styles of jump blues and rhythm and blues coming out of New Orleans started to take on a different kind of a quality, and the difference was rhythm. New Orleans has always been referred to as a melting pot, of course, and one of the things that New Orleans brings together is all the musical influences from all over the world, particularly Africa, Europe, and the Caribbean. And so what you found in New Orleans was kind of a combination of rhythms that were unique to the city. And the way it developed was basically a guy named Dave Bartholomew, who was a famous band leader, producer, arranger, songwriter, you name it, trumpeter, did everything. He was sort of the kingpin of New Orleans music. He had a hit record in 1949, it was called Country Boy. And what he did in Country Boy was he brought this particular sound into the arrangement, which otherwise was pretty much a standard jump blues kind of a song. And the sound that he brought into it was derived from the clave. Now, if you're familiar at all with Afro-Cuban music, then you know that the clave is actually two sticks that you play rhythmically, and it forms the kind of the backbone of Afro-Cuban music. And just to play it on the guitar, the basic clave beat, or the son clave as they call it, goes like this: 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, here in the States, we're more familiar with that as a shave and a haircut 2 bits, or maybe Bo Diddley. Right? They're all coming from that same basic family of rhythms. Now, what son clave has is a 2-part rhythm. In the first measure, it's got that little syncopation where it goes 3, or actually counting in 2, 1, 2, da, 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 right? So there's that little offset beat or syncopation. And what Dave Bartholomew did was he took that half of the clave beat and he built a little melody line around it, which was, we'll put it in the key of A, root and 3rd and 5th of the A chord. And so he built his arrangement around a melody played by the horns. It sort of was the centerpiece of the arrangement, went like this: 2, 3, 4. And so on. Now you notice I just counted it in 4. Traditionally, in Afro-Cuban styles, it's counted in 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Most of American popular music is counted in 4. And what Dave had done was he took that half of the clave, which is called tresillo, it's just the 3 notes in the first half of the clave rhythm. He took that tresillo and he laid it up on top of a jump blues groove where the bass player is playing more like a walking line. So you had this really familiar kind of a sound, but up against it, you had that tresillo. And so on. And it created this cool vibe that it was familiar but somehow different. And the result was that everybody started doing it. And one who did it most notably was Fats Domino. Now, Fats was starting to become known in the late 40s. He had his first record called The Fat Man. And he hooked up with Dave Bartholomew, and together they started to build these arrangements that included this tresillo rhythm. And the combination of tresillo with the drummer playing a more, what we would think of as a normal blues beat against it was pretty interesting, because you had the drummer playing a shuffle, tap, with the tresillo against it, doon, dot, dot, doon, dot, dot, right? And the drummer then would put a big whack on the snare drum on the second beat. So you get 1, da, 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 right? Now I'm playing the little hit on the guitar there, the chick, where the drummer would hit the snare drum on beats 2 and 4. That's called the backbeat. Now, one of the drummers that gets credit for popularizing the backbeat is one of the most famous drummers to ever come out of New Orleans, Earl Palmer. Wound up here in LA doing tons of sessions, actually became one of the executives at the Musicians Union. Played on tons of records, but he gets a lot of credit for the backbeat. Other drummers also get credit in other parts of the country, who knows. But one of the features of New Orleans was this tresillo with the backbeat. And then the third ingredient that kind of made it all come together was steady triplets on the piano. And Fats apparently picked up that sound from a piano player named Little Willie Littlefield. And he started playing these triplets. And when Dave Bartholomew had Fats play the triplets and the piano against the backbeat on the drums and the tresillo in the bass pattern, doubled by the guitar, there it was. It was like, you know, the gates opened and tons of these songs came out. Some of the famous ones like Ain't That a Shame, you know, which you're probably familiar with, if not from Fats, then from Cheap Trick, you know. These are famous New Orleans songs. Blueberry Hill, you know, Blue Monday. These were just tons of these songs that came out.